You finally got what you always wanted. This was supposed to be it, the moment that would make everything okay. But as the celebration dies down, you're left with an unexpected emptiness.
For months, maybe years, you chased this goal. You sacrificed for it, convinced that the triumph would fill the void inside. And for a brief moment, it did. The thrill hit you like a drug. But now the high is gone, and the void is back, gaping as if nothing ever changed. Why aren't you happy? Isn't this what you wanted? How can the victory you longed for leave you so hollow? And then it hits you. This isn't the first time. Think back. Every time you reach a goal, the satisfaction slips through your fingers. No trophy, no reward ever keeps you fulfilled for long. You always find yourself yearning again, often before the celebration even ends. This quiet collapse, this hidden letdown, is something we all face. It's the moment after the high, when reality creeps back in. You tell yourself maybe the next victory will be different. But deep down, you know the truth you've been avoiding. It's never enough. It never will be. You have stepped onto the treadmill of desire, whether you meant to or not. As soon as one wish is fulfilled, another takes its place. You exist in a state of almost satisfied, always reaching for the next thing, never at rest. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation, the hedonic treadmill. No matter what you achieve, you eventually sink back to a restless baseline, craving the next thing. Today's triumph becomes tomorrow's old news, and soon you're chasing another prize. You whisper to yourself, just one more victory, one more dollar, one more fix, then I'll be happy. It's the oldest lie in human experience, the promise of future bliss to cure present emptiness. And you keep chasing it, again and again. You're like a hamster on a spinning wheel, running furiously, but going nowhere. The carrot dangles just out of reach, and every time, you take the bait. It doesn't matter how many times the cycle repeats, you always believe the next time will be different. Really think about it. Whenever you get what you want, the glow fades quickly. You don't stay satisfied. You start looking for the next mountain to climb. Enough is a moving target. The horizon of satisfaction always shifts just out of reach, no matter how far you travel. For so long, the chase gave you purpose. When you finally catch the prize, you feel unmoored, maybe even bored, until a new desire grabs hold. It's as if you only feel alive when striving for what's next. As if catching it was never the point at all. Boredom creeps in whenever you have nothing to strive for. So you find a new craving. Then you suffer until you satisfy that craving, only to promptly feel empty once the thrill is gone. Back and forth it goes, from longing to listlessness, from craving to emptiness. Like a pendulum you can't stop. For centuries, thinkers have recognized this unwinnable game. Few put it as bluntly as Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of pessimism. He saw our lives as trapped in exactly this cycle, and he wasn't gentle about it. He famously said that life swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom. When you're yearning and striving, you suffer pain. When you get what you want and the yearning stops, you grow bored. On one side you hurt, on the other you're empty. And life just swings back and forth between these two states, with no lasting peace in between. To Schopenhauer, desire itself is a form of pain. As long as you want something you lack, you are miserable, gnawed by craving. And when you finally satisfy the desire, what happens? You feel brief relief, and then you lapse into boredom. The itch of wanting is gone, replaced by a dull void. He even compared a fulfilled wish to a coin tossed to a beggar. It buys a brief moment of relief, nothing more. Every satisfaction is like that coin, keeping you alive today so you can hunger again tomorrow. No matter what you attain, it only postpones the next craving. The appetite always returns. To him, this wasn't a mistake in life's design. It was life's very essence. Existence itself, he argued, is the manifestation of an insatiable will, an endless striving that can never be fulfilled. We are puppets pulled by the strings of this will, doomed to oscillate between agony and emptiness. In Schopenhauer's eyes, life is suffering by its very nature. According to Schopenhauer, we suffer because we always want something. And even when we get what we want, we can't hold on to happiness. It slips through our fingers, and soon we hunger for something else. We are tormented by desire, and then tormented by the emptiness that follows when desire is gone. Sound familiar? What Schopenhauer described over 150 years ago is exactly what you live through today. The pain of longing, then the emptiness after attaining, on repeat. He saw the human condition as an unwinnable cycle, a game where the only prize for winning is a brief pause in pain. In fact, Schopenhauer found validation in ancient wisdom. Buddhism had long taught that life is suffering and desire is the cause. He agreed, without any hint of optimism. Wanting causes pain, yet when you stop wanting, only boredom remains. This is the human dilemma he illuminated. Where does that leave you? It might sound terribly bleak to say we can never be truly satisfied. But think back to that quiet disappointment after your victories. That secret dread that nothing will ever be enough. Schopenhauer isn't casting a curse. He's articulating the truth most of us spend our lives running from. Once you see this clearly, you notice its fingerprints on every part of life. It explains why achievements lose their shine, why relationships run dry, why the rich and famous are still hungry for more. This endless dissatisfaction seeps into everything we do, corroding our joy in the very moments that should fulfill us. In modern life, this cycle is even exploited. The entire consumer economy runs on your never-ending appetite. Advertisers dangle the next product, the new upgrade, as the key to happiness. For a moment, a new purchase excites you. You feel wealthy, satisfied. But soon that new gadget becomes ordinary. The thrill decays, and you're off looking for another thing to buy. Businesses count on this. Your built-in dissatisfaction is their profit engine. Consider your ambition. You climb the career ladder believing the next promotion or pay raise will finally satisfy you. But each time you rise, the feeling of accomplishment fades and a new goal appears. You sacrifice sleep, peace, even relationships to reach the top. And when you get there, you only see more heights to conquer. No matter how high you climb, it never feels like enough. You fall in love, and for a while, you feel complete. But then the high of infatuation fades. The perfect partner reveals imperfections. The excitement settles into routine. And suddenly you find yourself restless, wondering if there's someone better, or longing for the thrill of new love again. People bounce from relationship to relationship, chasing that intoxicating spark, always convinced the next person will finally make them whole. Think of addiction. The first hit, the first high, is bliss. But it wears off. The next time you need more to get the same rush. With each dose, the satisfaction diminishes, the craving intensifies. This applies to drugs, to alcohol, to gambling, even to the dopamine hits of social media. You scroll, consume, indulge, always needing more and never finding a point of enough. Even morality isn't safe from insatiable desire. Good people compromise their values, lie or cheat or steal, all for the promise of just a little more. A bit more money, another conquest, a higher status. Worth any cost, they think, because then they'll be satisfied. But the satisfaction never comes. Instead, they're left with guilt and a new void that no prize can fill. Living in this state takes a psychological toll. It breeds anxiety. What if you never get that next thing you crave? Or what if you lose what you have? It breeds envy. You see others with something you want and assume they must be happier. It creates an undercurrent of dissatisfaction even in moments that should be peaceful. You can't enjoy what you have today because your mind is already fixated on what you might get tomorrow. Our whole society runs on this restless engine. On one hand, it has driven progress and innovation. Humanity keeps achieving more because we're never content. But it also drives waste, overconsumption, and collective anxiety. We have more comfort and luxury than any generation before. Yet depression and emptiness are rampant. We have so much, yet we feel something vital is always missing. So ask yourself, has getting what you want ever truly quenched your thirst? Or does each triumph, each pleasure, only make you thirstier for more? We live like souls in a cursed feast, consuming all we can, yet never feeling full. No matter how much you devour, the hunger only deepens. This insatiability corrodes everything it touches. It turns love into obsession, ambition into a Sisyphean race, pleasure into addiction. It makes you a slave to your cravings, never able to rest, never allowed to simply enjoy the moment. Because if nothing is ever enough, then no moment can ever truly satisfy you. The curse of never being satisfied steals the joy from everything. So, is this it? Are we doomed to live in perpetual dissatisfaction? Throughout history, wise voices have suggested ways to break free, or at least to soften the cycle. Philosophies and religions, from Buddhism to Stoicism, offer a path to escape the treadmill. But these solutions come at a price. And even they carry a dark twist that Schopenhauer would want you to remember. Many have searched for an antidote to this endless wanting. Across cultures, spiritual traditions teach that if desire causes suffering, the solution is to desire less, or nothing at all. In other words, step off the treadmill, quit the game, stop the craving, and perhaps you stop the pain. In Buddhism, this idea is core. The Buddha taught that life is suffering, and the cause of suffering is craving. The way out is to extinguish craving. Nirvana literally means blowing out, as in snuffing out the flame of desire. If you extinguish the flame, the suffering ends. No desire, no pain. To reach this, Buddhist monks renounce almost all worldly attachments. They meditate, detach, and discipline the mind to kill desire at its root. In letting go of every earthly want, they aim to find a peace beyond the pendulum swings of pain and boredom. No highs, no lows, just a steady freedom from craving. In the West, Stoic philosophers took a slightly different tack. They knew desire couldn't be eliminated entirely, so they taught people to desire only what is within one's control, and to cultivate an attitude of wanting what one already has. In essence, want less, and you'll suffer less. The Stoics preached that freedom comes not from fulfilling every desire, but from training yourself to be satisfied with little. To them, contentment was a matter of mindset, not circumstance. Different philosophies, East and West, converge on this point. The only escape from endless dissatisfaction is to curb your desires. Either eliminate them through renunciation or temper them through discipline. In either case, the aim is to break out of the cycle, to stop the pendulum by no longer swinging with every new craving, essentially, to step out of the game. Now here's the brutal twist. The catch, Schopenhauer would point out. To extinguish desire is a form of renunciation so profound that it can feel like a living death. After all, what is a human being with no desire, no will? Schopenhauer respected the saint and the monk who renounced the world. He saw in them the only real escape from the will. But he also recognized that this state is not what we typically imagine as happiness. It's more like a quiet nothingness, the peace of a surrendered life. In other words, the ultimate solution is not a triumphant fulfillment of all your desires, but the renunciation of desire itself. Nirvana in Buddhism is often described as the extinguishing of the self like a candle flame. Stoic apatheia is a state of imperturbable calm, free from passion. Notice that these goals are not about attaining some wonderful new pleasure or high. They're about ending the cycle of craving and suffering altogether. Schopenhauer forces us to confront the possibility that the end of suffering might also mean the end of everything we usually live for. Be honest. Do you really want to renounce all desire? Most of us don't. We want the reward without the pain. We want to somehow finally get enough of something to be happy without giving up the game. We cling to the hope that one day life will satisfy us on our terms. But Schopenhauer's harsh wisdom is that this hope is an illusion. Either you keep chasing mirages, or you renounce the chase entirely. There is no painless middle path where you get to have enough and keep wanting at the same time. So where does that leave you? With a stark choice. You can continue the endless striving, knowing it will never truly satisfy you. Or you can renounce desire, stepping off the wheel at the cost of forfeiting many of life's pleasures and pursuits. It's a cruel fork in the road. Endless chase on one side, surrender on the other. There is no easy third option. Schopenhauer's philosophy gives no comforting solution. It only holds up a mirror to your predicament. He challenges you to recognize the trap and decide with open eyes how to live with it. And perhaps that clarity is the only consolation we truly get. The simple, stark knowledge of how things are. No longer lying to yourself that the next achievement or the next love will fix everything. It's not a cheerful comfort, but it is a kind of power. Because when you understand the game, you can at least stop being blindly played by it. You might not escape the human condition, but you can confront it with eyes open. The hard truth is that never being satisfied is part of being human. This relentless wanting is woven into our nature. It can feel hopeless, yes, but now you see it for what it is, and that gives you a choice. Will you continue chasing the next shiny illusion, knowing it will not fulfill you? Or will you stop running and face that inner emptiness head on, instead of fearing it? That decision is now yours. This knowledge is dark, but it gives you power. It frees you from the lie that just one more will someday be enough. You can stop worshiping the next big thing as your salvation. You can recognize the hungry impulse when it rises and choose not to let it control you. In seeing the game for what it is, you reclaim the freedom to play it on your terms, or not play at all. Think about it. You have been a puppet of your wants all your life, but now you can see the strings. Yes, you will still feel desire. You're alive after all. But you don't have to be deceived by it anymore. You can pursue what you choose, knowing it won't grant eternal bliss, and so not be devastated when the satisfaction fades. You can even smile at your own cravings, seeing them for what they are. Clarity gives you this inner edge, this small measure of freedom in a game rigged against you. If you stay still, you will fall back asleep. And if you fall back asleep, you already know what awaits you. Another life on autopilot, another endless chase for something that always slips away. Before you leave, write one sentence in the comments. Not a reaction, not a slogan, just one brutally honest sentence. A confession, if you will, marking the moment you stopped lying to yourself. Let this uncomfortable truth be a source of power for you. You cannot change your human nature overnight, but you can decide how to live with it. We may not control nature's design, but we can defy it, not with force, but with choice. In a world that profits from your dissatisfaction, clarity is an act of rebellion. And that rebellion, however quiet, is a form of freedom. Step off the treadmill, live, and when you're ready, come back. I'll be waiting, where I always am, on the edge, where it all begins.